This is 18 WJTS. We're local people watching local people as we want you to meet the candidates running for office in the municipal elections coming up November 3rd. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Dean Vonderheide. Dean is running for the office of Jasper City Council at large. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Dean, I guess the first thing we want to know is tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, I am married to Ellen. We've been married now for 26 years, and we have two wonderful girls, Megan Permuta, her husband Josh. They live here in Jasper, and they've blessed us with a granddaughter, Hazel. She's 20 months old. And I have another daughter, Anna, who lives here in Jasper, is working up at French Lick right now at the resort. And, it's nice to have my family close at home. I've also got my stepmother and my mother-in-law here, as well as numerous cousins and other relatives. So Jasper is my home.
Okay, and tell us about your schooling and some of the little history of yourself.
Yeah, we moved here in 1967 from Holland. My parents did in order for my father to further his career with Holland Dairy as a branch manager. And at that time, Jasper was a big city. I thought I was going to get lost in Jasper. But that transition went well. The city embraced us and got involved in sports and clubs over the 4 years in high school. Had numerous successes with that. And it was also an introduction to my first political role, which was with Jack Newton's Mayor's Youth Council. So that was a long, long time ago. And but it did pique my interest a little bit in the politics, and I really enjoyed that. From Jasper High School, I went to Indiana University. I was on an athletic scholarship, graduated from Indiana after 4 years of intercollegiate athletics, and my focus, and I'm going to say lack of focus in numerous areas, but finally with my graduation, I became a teacher and a coach in the high school systems. I taught at North Posey High School and at Tell City High School for 3 years, and then made a transition out of the high school into the furniture industry. Styline, Ferdinand Furniture in Huntingburg, Indiana, was reintroducing some new talent to it, and Hank Menke had come back to join his father's business, and I came on board as a sales coordinator. I worked with them for 3 years in numerous roles, including superintendent of one of the facilities, and then was recruited from there by Kimball International. And you know Kimball's story. We were always looking at growth and diversification in the marketplace. They had just purchased a company, Group Artec, out of California, and I came on board. I think I was like their 35th employee for that company. Kimball was a great place to come to work for because it really advanced my leadership development skills, my training, my focus on people and their development. And over the 32 years of my career there, I had multiple positions, touched a lot of people, I hope in a positive way. Was able to help them better themselves with my focus on education, training, and personal development with experiences. I was very lean focused, so I was always looking for how can we do more with less, but at the same time improve the wages of our employees. So that was a real focus for me at Kimball. 32-year career was a great career. I finished in April with retirement at I'm not going to give my age, but it's pretty high. I turned 62 this year. But after 32 years, I retired in April of this year as the Chief Human Resource Officer, and I was responsible for the culture of the company worldwide, including environmental and safety aspects of that. That was a wonderful career, but at the time, I felt like I needed to move on and do some things that I always had in my life goals. One of them was just to represent people and do a good job for them. I pursued that with this role as a candidate for at-large. I'm going to take you to my church as well, because that's a real strong element of who Dean Vonderheide is. When we moved in 1967, I became a member of Trinity United Church of Christ in Jasper. Have been a member ever since, so for 48 years, that's a long time. have numerous roles there, three different terms in the church council. One as a council president. I've led Christian education. I've been involved in the property management group of it, budget. I also have, just this year as part of my retirement, I had made a commitment to myself to lead a mission trip, and I finished up a mission trip with a small group in August. And it was very much a success. We went through a mission called Hope Renewed International. And this was into the Guatemala area, and really tried to work with some people and helping them advance their lives through resources, not just handouts, but a hand up. The Indiana University, I'm gonna take you back to that, because without referring to Indiana, that was a big part of my development. I had the opportunity to be coached by some, Big Ten coaches, and some of them are still active in the newscasting areas today. But they had great influence on me, one way or the other. I could always pick and choose those characteristics, those things that I wanted to be like when I grew up. And I felt like over the years, being exposed to Fortune 500 leaders, to coaches of the Big Ten, to my father and other local coaches in the high school level, I was able to pick and choose who I wanted to be and how I wanted to be perceived as I grew up here in Jasper. I think that served me well. At Indiana, I was president of the Eye Association after being a member for many, many years. The board of directors, I received the Z.G. Clevenger Award for outstanding contributions to the athletic department over the years, and that I'm pretty proud of that one. That one's in the Assembly Hall in the front case. So that's, if you're ever at Assembly Hall, stop by. You'll be able to see someone from Jasper there, as well as someone from Huntingburg. Bob Menke was a member as well. The Indiana University served me well. I received the Outstanding Service Award here at the IU Alumni Club of Southwest Indiana, and I've continued to stay active there in the Indiana University Eye Association and with the Southwest Club. So I'm still active. As long as I've got the capabilities and the time, I'll put the resources toward that. I am also a member of the Jasper Rifle and Gun Club here locally, and compete in their trap league every season. That's been an enjoyable sport and hobby for me. So I think that one last thing I think I probably want to mention. Upon retirement, I did go into what I term as it's agricultural-based business, but I call myself an agricultural artisan. I've started a hops farm, and really started small scale with plans to grow. But I have always enjoyed working outside, working with my hands, and watching people and things grow. And this was an opportunity for me with my retirement to just really focus on doing something like that.
How interesting that is.
Thanks, Bill.
I'm sure over your career you mentioned the Clevenger Award, but I'm sure have some other awards as well.
Oh, I did. I had in high school and college numerous awards, and I really look at every day I wake up. That's an award. I've been blessed, So it's an opportunity to do something for people. And
you are on the Jasper Public Library Board, and
I am. The Jasper Public Library Board has been a significant part of my life, and as well as my family's life for the last 4 or 5 years. I became a member in 2011, and this past year I was elected as president of the board. It's pretty exciting times for us. So we've gone through a lot of consideration about different sites and what to do about the library. And right now, in the last couple weeks, we made a decision as a board that we were going to choose the Hoosier Desk site as the site location for the future of our library. We were excited that last week the City Council had made a decision to support the arts in joining us on that location as part of what we consider to be a cultural center. And I think that is just a tremendous plus for the community. It's something that's going to differentiate us, and I think that differentiation is needed. I think it's an exciting time for the youth of our community, as well as all citizens, because We have over 170,000 people cross through our library doors every year. And it's a well-used facility, and it's there for personal development, and we're expanding programs. Our library director, Christine Golden, is doing a great job. We have a great board of directors. I really feel good about the future of our library.
Now, that was a tough decision, you know,
It was
with
a tough
lot of people
decision.
talking about it. How did you arrive at that decision with the public library?
Well, we actually commissioned a building committee. It was over a year ago. The building committee reported in October of 2014 with a recommendation for 3 sites. The board chose to pursue 2 of those sites, one of them being the Main Street location and the other one, the Hoosier Desk site. So we started doing our due diligence on those. And of course, one of the things you have to work through is the hearsay, the rumor mill versus what's actual factual. And over that time, we've had studies, we've gotten a lot of the facts put together, and as the library established our criteria for selection, one of the main things that we did establish was that we didn't want to have a big financial impact on the taxpayers in Jasper, Indiana by having a new library facility. And so we've kept that as a high criteria, and we were very fortunate that as we looked at the Hoosier Desk site, that the industrial revitalization tax credits that is available to us, called the Dino tax credit, those Dino tax credits will more than pay for the site and potential demolition of the entire site, or repurposing of some elements of it if we decide they could do that, at a much less cost than it would be to do anything at the current Main Street location. So it really is an exciting time for us, and we're ready to move forward. As a board, I know we've all talked about it for a long time, that when we made the decision, we're just going to move forward, and now our time is to educate the public on why that site and what our future looks like.
Well, with all of this that you've done and are doing, what possesses you to run for office?
Well, I care. This community had a big impact in my growth and my success as a leader in the businesses I was involved in. And I care enough to want to give back and to make sure that the future is there for not just my kids, but my grandkids and those that are future generations. This is a great community. We don't want to lose what we have, but we've got to grow, and we've got to continue to do the right things for the future. I think the big picture is always an element that we've got to keep in mind. It's not just about today. It's not just about the impact of today, but it's tomorrow. What's the impact tomorrow we're going to have on tomorrow? And that's kind of why I'm there. I think I've got a good vision, understand, trends and where things are going. And that's one of the reasons I really enjoy continuing to be on the library boards, both contractual and the Jasper Public Library. I'm a high-value person. I believe in personal values, and personal integrity is something I'll take to the grave with me. I will not sacrifice that. I believe that try to be transparent in everything we do. Transparency is a big word nowadays. You hear it often, but I've always tried to live that way. That it's a lot easier to tell the truth right up front than it is to try to make something up and remember what you told somebody before. So I'm a believer in truth and moving forward. I think my experiences over the years, I've never been afraid to step into a tough situation. As a matter of fact, I've been coached and asked to do that many times. And throughout all those times, as tough as it may get, you're going to wade through it, and you're going to come out of there with a solution at the end. And you've just got to keep your focus on the future and what that solution might be for all. I believe in diversity, and I think the community is facing the challenges of a more diverse workforce and population. I think there's a lot we can do there, and I think my past experiences in a multicultural company, across many continents and countries, that understanding culture and what that means to us is pretty important. I think it will have a positive aspect in my leadership on the city council. So I look at my past leadership, I look at the development I've had over the years, and I really feel like it's helped me position for the contribution to Jasper.
Now, actually, for Jasper, what are some concerns, issues that you think we'll be addressing here in the future, and how would you address those?
Well, I think we've all read that, we've had our budget has had to be supplemented some, and to me, I as a businessman, I think the tough call is to where do you pare back and how do you pare back, and delaying decisions on budget cuts sometimes will get you in greater trouble. So, I think I can help with a balanced budget in the future years. I believe I can influence that. I think the infrastructure here in the community, though we have good roads, I think there's a need for sidewalks so that, I can't, it just aggravates me every time I see it, but when I see individuals walking on the highways to and from work, or mothers pushing their strollers with their babies on the roads, I don't think that's where we need to be. From a liability standpoint, I think the city sets itself up, and I think as a citizenry, we need to do something to help our people, our current citizens, get to and from work by foot or by bicycle. There's multiple modes of transportation around, and the most reliable is by foot. And if we take that away from people and we put them out there in the streets where they've got the capability of being injured from a passerby, I think that's a serious issue. I also believe the city, with its diversity, again, I mentioned that earlier, but I think diversity is a challenge, and I think my background can help with establishing a more uniform front for the citizens of Jasper, no matter what the nationality and background might be.
Okay, and competitive wages would be a key to that? Competitive
wages are always a key. Local manufacturers, businesses understand that, you can't just give money away. And they know what it takes to be competitive in their markets. But competitive wages attracts talent. And we've got to make sure that our wages are competitive in the region, not just in this locality. And that's important to us. And you do that through productivity improvements. Again, I mentioned earlier, more with less, the old lean philosophies, but as you make improvements in productivity as a company, you share those improvements in productivity with your employees through higher earnings. And I think it's kind of a self-feeding mechanism so that it doesn't have to have a negative impact on a business.
Well, now, the TV audience, any last words?
Well, I would just really appreciate the opportunity to serve the citizens of Jasper and to give back all that you've given me over the years. I feel like I can be an asset for the community in this role. Thank you.
Dean, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Our guest has been Dean Vonderheide.
Thank you, Bill.
Dean is a candidate for Jasper City Council at large, so no matter what ward or district you live in Jasper, you would be voting in that case. Right. Dean Vonderheide has been joining us. We thank you for watching WJTS Inform. Remember, please vote. It's your privilege. This is WJTS. We're local people watching local people.